and join those who say happy birthday. And I also want to salute PRASA for the support of the program. And of course, participants present here, you are all very important. Salute the Chief Whip of the ANC in Parliament, the President of COSATU, the Chair of the National House of Traditional Leaders. I think it suffices to say all protocol observed. Firstly, allow me to introduce ourselves as to who we are. We are sometimes referred to as a department, sometimes referred to as a portfolio, sometimes referred to as the ministry. Let me introduce that the Ministry of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs consists of two departments. The one department is referred to as the Department of Cooperative Governance. And the main function of that is to facilitate a coordinated functioning of the various spheres of government in providing support for the service of the local area. This coordination also involves a broader public sector space, as well as extra government organs of civil society on matters related to the service and development of the local area. The department is headed by a Director General who is present here, Mr. Vusima Donsela. The second department is the Department of Traditional Affairs. And this department's main function has to do with providing support to matters of traditional affairs for questions related to transformation, administration, general support, as well as dealing with dispute and claims on leadership. And that department is headed by the Director General, who is present here, Professor Mwaila. The Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent, otherwise referred to as MISA, is a government component in this ministry, which is a special purpose vehicle established to manage the ring-fenced activities of providing specialized technical and non-technical support for infrastructure development and maintenance. MISA is headed by a chief executive officer acting at the moment, is not here, busy with some infrastructure-related businesses. We are here. The fourth is the soon-to-be-established government component, taking charge of the National Disaster Management Center. I'm raising this even before we finalize the feasibility study to convert this activity, which at the moment is operating like a branch in DCOC, dealing with issues of disaster management. Headed by Mr. Ken Terry, is busy, of course, it's not part of us here. As a ministry, we work in association with such structures as the Local Government Sector Education and Training Authority, LGCTA, the South African Local Government Association, SALGA, the South African Cities Network, the National Demarcation Board, the National House of Traditional Leaders. The chairperson is here. And of course, in each province, we have houses. This is who we are. This is what we do as the Ministry of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. We developed what we refer to as a local government turnaround strategy to talk to the approach we adopted after conducting a study in 2008 on the state of local governance, which study then suggested that we need to do things differently. That's why we then developed a turnaround strategy to deal with questions that will then respond to the challenges of the day. And if we're to ask ourselves, what actually led to us deciding to do things like that, and where are we today? We'll indicate that around 2008, that is the era or the period where we saw a lot of service delivery-related protests, people taking to the streets, expressing their views, indicating in this area here we need more service, in that area there we need more service. As a responsive government, we then said the voice of the people should dictate the pace at which we go to do things. Hence, we developed this local government turnaround strategy. We'll talk more about this, and I think that the people watching this program will raise some issues about that as to what are the key focus areas, where are we at the moment. But let me then indicate in terms of what shapes our approach, what informs our commitment. If you will speak about support of the local area, what is it that we're aiming to achieve? We want our municipalities in the country, all of them, to be equal to what it takes to be a municipality, providing quality services to the people. We want our municipal workers, wherever they are, to create an environment that when people think of approaching our municipal offices, they must know that they are not going to meet public charges, but they are going to meet people, men and women who are ready, who has what it takes to be in those offices. We, of course, work with unions in partnership. To then say, in partnership, we'll find ourselves in a situation where we're mobilizing society, we're mobilizing our municipal worker environment to live up to what is expected. All of us contributing to promote the support to the local area. We work with SALGA, and then seeing in strengthening SALGA, understanding that SALGA is the collective voice of municipalities. We then say it takes a caring government, it takes a responsible ministry to then say if you work to support municipalities, you must do that understanding that municipalities themselves are not just extensions of the provincial government or national government as if they are sections, but they are a sphere on themselves. And as a sphere, they deserve to be given the recognition, the support. So that's why working with SALGA, that is where we address issues. Of course, we're doing that also when it comes to questions of demarcation. As you know that the dispensation in this country is that we have an independent demarcation board, but working closely with them, we then say that has to become a reliable compass to then see where people live. The viability of our municipalities also, of course, has a relationship in terms of how the lines defining such municipalities are. Like I've indicated that we created MISA, we then say MISA is a solution to the challenges confronting municipalities. And of course, we operate on the understanding that the local area is not complete, even as we talk of a dispensation of wall-to-wall municipalities, but we know that our institutions of traditional rule are there. And therefore, in a democracy, these institutions have a role to play, as it is indicated in legislation. They've got a space to play their role. They are having a caring government or ministry to have them affirmed to a point of them being in a position to discharge of their best. Of course, as COGTA, as a ministry, we have a role to provide that intergovernmental relations facilitation so that the three spheres of government will operate in a coordinated way, all to respond to the needs of the people. That's why we often say, my community, my call, meaning that as we coordinate these activities, we coordinate the structure, the spheres, we do that to achieve this. Of course, there are two aims why we then said we needed a turnaround strategy. Make sure that we build strength and confidence between the government and the people, as a government of the people, of course, and of course address issues around strengthening of municipalities. All this we do so that there has to be service delivery, and all this we do so that we understand that for us to have service delivery, there has to be good governance, sound financial management. We need to make sure that the infrastructure rollout and maintenance is intact. We need to fight corruption as the unfortunate development sometimes obtaining in our environment. So as I call on this show and for this engagement, because I believe this morning is not for long speeches, but this morning is for us to engage. This morning is for us to share. I will not be speaking longer than here, but to then say, let the engagement begin. Let's talk about our local government. Is our local area. govt is there to mobilize society, outside the government also in the three spheres, so that all of us, our responsibility will be to address those issues. And we do that even mindful of the fact that in this South Africa, where we believe that there is perfect separation of powers, we also acknowledge that our members of parliament has constituency offices in the areas where the people live. That's why, as govt, we took a decision that as part of the priorities we put for this year coming, 2013, to work closely, have a partnership. And thanks because the Chief Whip is here. Thank you very much.